Hey guys, Jessica Sanders here of ColorMeCreativeArt.com and welcome to my channel. So I don't know about you, but it's been a crazy busy summer for me. So today I'm just going to play. But first, I wanted to share with you, I've got this lovely package from Joggles.com. What I really want to show you is how beautiful it is when they package it. So it always has a handwritten note on there, which makes it such a nice touch. And then it always includes these fabulous tissue papers. I mean, they're different every time. It is so cool. Now, I'm not affiliated with Joggles or anything. I just like to order from them, and this is one of the reasons. Okay, they also have, great customer service and stuff. So, I also have in my box these were free cutouts. No idea really what I'm going to use these for, but they're cool looking with some glittery, sparkly horses. I guess I can use them. I can use them for my journaling. I mean, obviously they're great for collaging. Anyway, I have all of these sheets. They were all free. And guess what I'm going to be playing with today? New colors. Woohoo! All right, so I'll be back and we're gonna play. All right, guys, I've got my whole set of the second release of Distress Oxides, and I'm just gonna do a quick swatching, share my thoughts, and then I'm going to play with them a little bit more. I am happy and excited. I think I will choose a couple to compare to the Distress inks. I have antique linen. I'm not sure there's going to be that much difference in these two, but it'll be fun to find out, right? I have picked raspberry. And how about peacock feathers? Okay. So I guess you'd like to know what all of the colors are if you haven't seen them yet. So we have picked raspberry, candied apple, abandoned coral, wild honey, seedless preserves, salty ocean, peacock feathers, twisted citron, lucky clover, frayed burlap, antique linen, and black soot. Okay, so I'm going to get set up and we'll get started on the swatching. All right. Okay, guys, I am ready to swatch. Here we go. First is picked raspberry. I swatched my thumb. There we go. Now we know what color. I'm just going to do a quick, as quick as I can. Love these luscious colors, of course. Actually, I can only do 3 across, I can see. But I can get a good idea of the colors this way. I'm sorry. This is picked raspberry, candied apple, abandoned coral, and wild honey. Then I'm going to do seedless preserves, salty ocean. There we go. Oh, look at that blue. Peacock feathers. Some of these may overlap a little. That's okay with me. This is just a quick test. It's a perfect way to do this, actually, for me. All on one sheet. That's twisted citron, that lovely yellowy green. This is lucky clover. Fabulous. Then we have frayed burlap, antique linen, and black soot. I'm actually really excited about black soot. And I think it's just going to look gray when it's oxidized. But anyway, so let's see. Okay, so I have also the picked raspberry and the Distress ink, so we can just see the difference there. There's a difference in the vibrancy. And here's the antique linen. Kind of looks the same right now, except you can see this is a deeper color than the oxide because it's going to have that chalky finish when it's oxidized. And then let's do peacock feathers, which is here. So this is the Distress ink and the Distress oxide. Now, in order to show the real difference, we need water. So I'm just going to spritz this page really lightly so I can make cause the inks to oxidize, and also we'll just show the distress inks, how they're a little bit different. And you've probably seen this already. This is old news, I guess, by now, but it's just fun to test the colors and see how they work. And see the oxidized effect. So I'm going to dry this. I'm keeping the camera running so you can see that transformation of the color. You can really see it, the distress ink. You can see the water spots. I want to put like a big drop on the black just to see what happens. Let's do the black. So as it's drying and oxidizing, it's becoming that gray. And also what's really fun about these is the texture and the feel of the paper when you're finished. Okay, I'm going to let this go ahead and dry. Maybe we'll take a look back at it at the end. But I think you can see. Let me just show you a little bit more close up. This actually looks so close to the same, which surprises me a little bit because this is the distress ink and the oxide. And you can see how the dye portion of this really wicked out, but the pigment part kind of stays in place. You can see pretty well here. See the intensity of the pigment here and the lightness, the chalkiness there. It doesn't come off the paper, but it just feels chalky. Okay, so I just have this wild, crazy idea to try these oxides on Gelli Plate. Now, I know Gelli Plate's not made for that, but I just want to try it and see what happens. So I'm going to share that with you, and let me get out all of my stuff, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. And I've changed my camera angle a little. And I have a few texture tools like this dot, this lid. These are all just, I mean, this one I bought, but these are sort of found object kind of things. Plus I have Donna Downey's Fleur stencil, which you can see I've been using. And I have a heart stencil. So many hearts. And so I'm just going to try this. No idea how it's going to work. Just going to play around with it and see. It may not work at all, but we're going to find out. So here we go. I'm just going to start laying down color with my ink pads. Obviously, what else would I be using, right? Now let me just do a quick test and see. So this is pigment ink. I said do a quick test. I changed my mind. Let me cover it with ink first. Not going to brayer this. Not going for that kind of look. And I'm just, as you can see, using some weird and random colors. And that's probably not a good thing. Probably shouldn't contaminate your ink pad like that, but I just did it. Okay, now I'm just going to put this. This is just a white cardstock. Put it down here and see what happens. I don't know if the inks will stay wet long enough. They have the dye and pigment fusion, and so they should stay wet longer than, say, the distress inks, but I just don't know. So we're just going to see what happens. So this just makes me so happy, guys. Look at that color. And it's got some texture. That's from the Gelli Plate. Look at that. Look at this. Now this can still be manipulated, obviously, because it's, you know, done with water. Is it dry? I think it's not dry yet. Well, actually, some spots are not quite dry, but almost, I mean, in like 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes, this will be completely dry and you can continue. Okay, so that was what I would call a successful test. Hey, let's just for kicks try a ghost print. Who knows? I don't think it's gonna work. You could also use these with your acrylic paints. Like, it would be fun to just put the white acrylics on there. So I have a little bit of a ghost print. Not much color on there, but you can see it. Okay, I'm just going to keep going and just try some different colors. And I'm going to try to be more careful not to contaminate. And it all, you know, it depends on how you twist, pounce, what you're going to do with it, as how the patterns are going to turn out. So I'm obviously stamping some squares, right? Which you can do. Which is a great technique for the Gelli Plate. Oh my goodness. I feel slightly brilliant right now. I'm contaminating my ink pads. That is not a good thing. That scares me. I'm like afraid I won't be able to get it off. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. I haven't looked that up. Okay, so I'm liking that. Now, just to try it out a little bit, I have this little bucket of water. So what I'm going to do is dip my lid in there and make some circles. And just see how it works, how it looks. Of course, I'm smushing. Am I smushing? Because it's the Gelli Plate. I'm pressing it down. But it's not going to move very far because it's on the Gelli Plate. I don't know. Seems like a harebrained idea to me, but it's pretty fun. And that's what I'm here for today, is to have some fun. All right. Okay, so lots of squares. Because I didn't press down, I just did a quick press. That's why it has the space here. Here's where the circles are. There we go. Okay, now next I'm going to do another smush, but I'm going to... Oh, you know what I can do? I'm going to wet it. Which obviously we can do with Distress Oxides. I want to do it on that sheet, but I want to see how it shows up exactly. So I'm not going to actually do that right now. Adding more water. We'll see what happens. Now, obviously, because the more water I have, the more this is going to move when I lay it down. Well, actually, my paper is sliding a little bit because of the water application. But let's just print it. Let's just find out what happens. This is playtime and create space right here. This is what you do. Oh, look at that. Now this was a ghost print because I'd already taken a lot of the ink off. What do you think about that, guys? And it's going to dry to that chalky finish. I'm really curious how that's going to look. I'm going to wipe that off. There we go. Nice. So what colors do we want to use? Let's use peacock feathers. Colors are stripy. This is Salty Ocean with a little bit of contamination on there. And then Seedless Preserves. Okay, so here's my... let's do some art. I want to do it like this. Okay. And I did not wet this, but I'm just trying to take advantage of that fusion pigment. I'm going to do a little bit of texture up there, down there. See what happens. Exciting right here. This is exciting, guys. You might be wondering why this is exciting to me. It's because I don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know. But it is more fabulous than I even imagined. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay. I have to keep going. You can never stop with this. All right. Set my stencil aside. This is a really light print. This would work. So let's do it on top of this. And here we go. And what happens in Texas is sheer fabulousness. Now, unlike acrylic paints, these are still going to be movable with water. So don't forget that if you decide to try this, don't forget that this is not a permanent print if you get it wet. It's going to move with water. And in fact, I could do all kinds of, like I could spritz this with water and do more techniques like that on it to continue further. Like, see, I could just spritz the top of that, maybe lift some of that. Anyway, all the distress techniques you can still do with these. Don't think that they're acrylic. They're not going to be the same. Okay, so let's do a crazy swatch of candied apple. Let's do a crazy swatch of abandoned coral. Oh, that is contaminated. Guys, that's not good that I contaminated. And then let's do antique linen. This time try not to contaminate. And I still haven't tried this black soot, so let's do some splotches of black here and there. Again, I contaminate. That's the only thing I'm really worried about with this. Okay, so let's use our fleur. This is the way you would do if you were stenciling, but because it has a word on it, I'm going to turn it over backward. That way, hopefully, it will read properly. And then put it on there. And let's use this nice soft background. This paper is still a little bit wet, but that's, I think, will be okay with what we're doing here. I might find out that I'm wrong. I might find out this is not okay. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Well, it definitely picked up the ink. Cool. Let's remove that. And of course, to get this Distress Oxide ink off, I need to wash these or print them on a different sheet. Spritz it. Sorry, doing that off camera. So now this is spritzed, and it will definitely work. And put it almost in the same spot there. It's not going to be a very super perfect crisp image. It's watery. But it is a lot of fun. Look at this. That's a lot of fun. You can see that oxidized effect on my Gelli Plate. So, there we go. Okay, so let me see. I haven't really used this twisted citron. I'm thinking the only downside I seem to be having with doing this, I mean, I definitely get a different effect, but I guess the downside is that I contaminated my ink pads. And I didn't really want to do that. I mean, they're brand new. It's the first time I've used them. But, you know, life will go on. Life will definitely go on. All right, and I'm going to spritz this lightly. And I'm going to put some circles in bigger spots of water, and I'm rinsing this in between. I don't mind that there are drips and drops on there. For me, that's perfect. I love that effect. All right, there we go. Now my sheet of paper. And this time, I'm not going to press it immediately. I'm going to sort of let the paper settle down onto the Gelli plate. And then I'm going to press it. And I feel like that will let the water soak in just a little before I start pressing it around. Is what I was going for. I don't know if I achieved that or not, but that was my attempt. Now, of course, Distress Oxides, one of the big deal about them is they're great for layering once they're dry. So I did not get as distinct of circles as I wanted. But what do I expect? It's a lot of water. But there is the impression there. So that's pretty fun. More ink. I don't know if I've used all these colors or not. I've just been going for it, playing. I really like this wild honey. I mean, that is a luscious color right there. And hey, let's just throw in, I used peacock feathers. Let's throw in a little bit of distress ink. It's a little bit more intense, and maybe let me use a little bit of picked raspberry. I'll just put it in a couple of spots, and then also the picked raspberry distress ink. I hope my head's not getting in the way of the camera. It might be. Sorry about that if it is. All right. So that looks fun and fabulous. Let's go back to my I didn't do the whole. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to use this as my base and do some spritzing and sort of use a smush effect, but not. So here's my original. We should be able to layer these colors on top without any problem. So says I, who was doing this crazy experiment with the Gelli Plate and Distress Oxides. Who knew? Alright, here we go. Woohoo! Wow. That's some intense color. Really intense color. Now this is a good example. Here's the oxide and here's the distress ink. And you can see how much, it's the same color but how much more chalky. It's not dry yet either. Let me get my heat tool and dry. Let's find out what happens here. It's just going to get a little bit more chalky looking. Spritz this corner. It's so soft and plain and perfect, and too perfect. So I'm going to spritz it. Add a little texture. There we go. Spritz it again. I think you can see all that water. All right. Some nice texture there. Okay, so I got these like swirly texture just by swirling my ink pads. So this is a pretty fun experiment. I mean, I would use this like, I might put some gesso over this. I could use it as an art journal background. You could doodle on it. You can doodle over these inks with your pens. It won't hurt your pens. Just make sure it's dry first. So I have like all of these. Look at this. This is just so yummy. Yummy, guys. It's yummy. Look at these hearts. Isn't that fabulous? Oh my gosh. What am I going to do? And even this was just the squares with the colors. And of course, we have our fleur. Now, what am I going to do? I have all these fabulous papers, the Distress Oxides. Oh, this one has the circles on it. It's really interesting. Really, really fun. And yeah. Okay, so guys, I'm going to stop now. Or maybe I'll keep going off camera. But I just wanted to play with the new colors of the Distress Oxides. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, it's a little wacky. I just decided to play and experiment. Got out my Gelli Plate and played with the Distress Oxides on that. And that was a lot of fun. And so if you have any questions, comments, please leave those below. Don't forget to like, or rather give me that thumbs up. And subscribe to me and hit that little bell if you want to find out every time I post a new video. I usually post a video once a week. Every now and then I miss one. And I'm considering doing a couple of other things, but I'll talk about that later on. So I'll let you know. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.